What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We are finally back with another off-season rebuild as one of the second round playoff series are over, and that being the Philadelphia 76ers being the first team eliminated out of the second round by the Miami Heat. Before we get into today's video, guys, if you could drop it a like, of course, subscribe if you're new around here, that would be greatly appreciated. But I have a lot to say today. You guys kind of saw what I was saying yesterday, and I wanted to know what most of you thought about what Daryl Morey should do this offseason with the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, kind of going back a little bit, the whole Ben Simmons saga came to an end at the trade deadline. It took forever to end, but it finally did come to an end when they traded for James Harden. And everybody was like, damn, okay, Daryl Morey waited a long time and he got the player he wanted. Everyone thought Ben Simmons' value would continue to diminish. You could argue that it did, but then Brooklyn kind of came along with James Harden not wanting to be there anymore. So kind of took care of itself, and then they got James Harden. And what does James Harden do in game 6 in an elimination game? He shoots 9 times. Why? I understand. I guess James Harden just isn't the same person he used to be. He just isn't, man. He's a pass first point guard, it seems like now. That's just what he is now. But they brought him in to be that second guy, and he just was not that. So how can we fix this? Well, let's get to it, shall we? So let's get into the offseason. We have the Phoenix Suns beating the Miami Heat, and of course, Dallas Mavericks forced a game 7, so it'll be the first game 7 of the playoffs that we have. We have not had a game 7 yet, so that is going to be super exciting. Make sure you don't miss that game. The Suns went on to win the championship, though. So let's get into this offseason. So let's start off with the fact that we do not have our draft pick, which actually I think we do. Okay, this is how it works. I believe the Brooklyn Nets have an option to have this pick, or they could defer it to next year, I'm not sure when they have to make that decision. So I'm just going to keep this. Well, actually, I'm just going to give this pick to the Nets to make it easier. So I'm just going to give that pick to the Nets just because that is from the James Harden trade. But the big thing is James Harden was supposed to accept this player option at the deadline, player option deadline or whatever, but he never did. So technically he still has the option to choose to accept it or decline it. I would be under the impression he would maybe accept it, but who knows? Because that's $47 million. And if I'm Philadelphia, I do not want to pay this man that much money. I just don't, man. He's not the same guy he used to be. So we'll see if he accepts or declines it in 2K. But as far as staff signing is concerned, Doc Rivers, man, I think the man is fired for sure. I'm firing Doc Rivers. I don't see how you keep him after that. So he is gone. So Doc Rivers gone. Coaching staff is totally just like that, vacant now. And if Frank Vogel was available, the Lakers fired Frank Vogel, I'd definitely maybe consider him for Philadelphia. Or I don't know exactly who obviously they would hire, but Frank Vogel would be somebody you could definitely consider for sure. So I'm gonna fill out this coaching staff real quick, and then once we get this figured out, we can talk about James Harden and what we should do next for the rest of the video, of course. So now that we have our coaching staff completely filled out, this is what it's going to look like. So Frank Vogel is the head coach, and I'd almost be willing to bet the Lakers hire Doc Rivers. I just feel like they're going to, and I don't know how Doc Rivers keeps getting jobs like that, but I guarantee you the Lakers hire him. I could definitely see that happening. But I'm going to hire Frank Vogel. I think he'd be a solid addition to this team. I mean, they're going to hire somebody, obviously. I don't know who it'll be, but he's an option for Philadelphia, I guess. I'm not saying it's going to be him, but I'm going to hire him here anyway. But let's go to the draft, shall we? So like I said, I also need to give this pick to Brooklyn real quick, which is something I knew I was going to do because they actually own this pick. So let me give this to them real quick. I can take care of that. So let's take their last second. So just like that, we got that taken care of. So now we have James Harden, which that's going to be a big ordeal if he declines or accept it. And I guarantee you this team's going to try to move on from Tobias Harris. And there was also a lot of talk about how, Philadelphia chose Tobias, or they chose Ben Simmons, or they chose Brett Brown over Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler even said in the interview he wishes he was still playing with Embiid, but obviously it didn't work out that way. That was probably their window at that time. When they had Tobias, Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, that was a really good team. And fortunately, lost to a Kawhi Leonard bounce, unfortunately. But regardless, Tobias Harris would be the guy that would be brought up a lot, right? He would definitely be that guy that gets brought up a lot. Now, I don't know exactly what you would give for Tobias Harris. I don't know what teams would value Tobias Harris as. You'd have to find a team that was desperate to want to buy it. I don't know. It would definitely be tough for sure. But I think you need to find a guy, which Tyrese Maxey very well could be, could turn into this guy. You need to find the guy that's the scorer next to Embiid. James Harden isn't that. He's going to be that pass first point guard, that playmaker. He's not going to play defense either. So I don't know. I feel like they're going to be stuck with him. I feel like James Harden will be a 76er. I could definitely see him accepting that option because if I'm Philadelphia again, I don't want to pay him 40 to 50 million. I just don't. He was not worth that. He didn't play like that in the playoffs on the biggest stage. So I'm going to go past the draft first before I go any further. So we have a second round pick. So I'm just going to jump in and draft somebody with this second round pick. And then we can get into like some trades. So Mark Williams, I'll draft as like a backup center for this team. He might actually be pretty solid. So of course they had DeAndre Jordan, which DeAndre Jordan was not it at all. So we'll sign Mark Williams, our second round pick. And then player options, James Harden accepted, which is actually kind of interesting because I kind of figured he might do that in real life. So Harden accepts his $47 million player option. I mean, makes sense for him to do that, like I said, especially in real life, it makes sense as well. So if he does accept it, you're stuck with him, obviously. You could trade him, but I'm not sure what you'd get for him. He's been traded twice in like the last 2 years, so not really sure what his value would really be. So I don't see them trading him either, and there's not a ton you could do in free agency either. So our avenue is going to be trades. We accepted Danny Green's player option, which Danny Green went down with an injury yesterday. Hopefully he's okay. But that $10 million expiring contract could actually come in handy. Yeah, again, it's Tobias Harris and then Joel Embiid. Mark Williams will probably be solid backup center for this team. But James Harden and Maxey will be your backcourt with Shake Milton as your guard rotation, and Korkmaz, if you want to, throw him out there a little bit. But I think we need to try to trade Danny Green and Tobias Harris. And Matisse Thybulle needs to be better on the offensive end. He's great defensively, but offensively, he's not all there. So I think we're looking for more forwards, really, this offseason. So starting with the Tobias Harris trade, I don't even know what this would look like. So I'm going to do my best to make a realistic Tobias Harris trade, but I don't know what a trade like that would even look like. So wish me luck. We'll see what I can find. So when it comes to a Tobias Harris trade, there's like 2 teams I kind of think that could be in the market for someone like him. I even think the Wizards could be in that market as well, but there's really nobody I could trade them with, just because if they were trying to surround Bradley Beal with talent, I guess Tobias Harris could be somebody you could consider to be that. But I feel like the Jazz and the Kings are in an interesting spot where they could easily make a trade or make a move for Tobias Harris. Now, obviously, as controlling the Philadelphia 76ers, I want some value in return. I want guys that are going to be able to start right away. So like Harrison Barnes, I think makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia. I do kind of like the idea of him. So maybe we could find a way. And then they give, Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox another option with Tobias Harris here. Or like I said, Utah, if they were trying to convince Mitchell that, hey, Tobias Harris coming here would fix all your problems, which I don't know if that really would, but maybe you could convince Mitchell that might be a thing. I don't know. It kind of depends on the direction the Jazz going, but I feel like the Kings are a little more realistic. So I'm going to try to make a trade with the Kings to give them Tobias Harris, and then they could have Tobias Harris play next to Sabonis and Fox. Defensively, they'll still be pretty bad, but I mean, offensively, I guess they get a little bit better. So I like Harrison Barnes. I would want nothing more than to get Harrison Barnes on this trade. And Rashawn Holmes is like a backup center to Embiid. I think would be really solid as well if you could convince the Kings to give you that. So if I did this, so Tobias Harris for Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, I don't know how well. Okay, they want Danny Green. We'll give him Justin Holiday. Yeah, I'll do this trade for sure. So basically, the Kings make a move where they get Tobias Harris and Danny Green, which is 2 guys that could come in and help them right away for sure. We get Barnes and Rashawn Holmes, so I guess the Kings are kind of going a different route. They get Charles out of it as well. So yeah, I'm definitely down for this trade. So we'll get Rashawn Holmes as a good backup center to Embiid as well. So when Embiid goes down, Rashawn Holmes is no slouch. I like that a lot. So, and then Barnes is kind of your brand new 3-and-D forward. So yeah, I kind of like that first initial trade. We get Harrison Barnes be either that starting power forward or that starting small forward, which of course we're still looking for another forward, which Harris is solid. But I don't, or Harrison, I should say, not Harris. Harris is gone now, but Harrison Barnes is solid, but not relying on him to be the guy. But Maxey is going to have to be that guy that steps up a lot for sure, because I don't really know how they get like another star here with Harden accepting that option. So forward options in free agency, you have like James Ennis, you have Nicholas Batum, who are solid. Terrence Williams, Oladipo, which I don't really want him. Josh Richardson was once upon a time in Philadelphia. They have Al Horford. Covington already signed an extension with the Clippers, so that needs fixed. Otto Porter, I could see being a decent option, but again, I'm not really sure he moves the needle all that much. But with trading Danny Green in that trade, we don't really have another avenue of getting better. Like I said, I love Rashawn Holmes being the backup center. I like that a lot. Matisse Thybulle, I guess, is a good option. Furkan Korkmaz is making about $5 million, so maybe you could find a way to combine him and with this Justin Holiday contract, so we could still technically get to $10 million for sure. So I'll probably use free agency, and then I'll probably try to find a forward who's making around $10 million to get that other guy I need. So one guy who I think could be a great target for the Philadelphia 76ers is Kyle Anderson. I mean, he'd be excellent off the bench for them. So I'm going to offer Kyle Anderson a contract, or even as a starter maybe. I wouldn't want him to start, but Kyle Anderson is one guy I like. And then the other idea I had was in Utah, would be Royce O'Neal, who's making around $9 million. So you can match the salary up, and it shouldn't cost you a ton to get him. And like I said, he's not terrible offensively. He would at least be a decent 3-and-D option for you. So I like the idea of Royce O'Neal just getting another defender around on this team. So I'd probably match the salary with Korkmaz and probably maybe Georges Niang or even Justin Holiday, which Justin Holiday actually wouldn't be a bad bench option either, to be honest with you. I could throw Georges Niang in here. So Korkmaz and Georges Niang, which Utah used to have. But for the incentive for Utah to accept this, they get a second round pick out of it. And just like that, we get Royce O'Neal for a second. So I like that. I think that's another good forward addition to this team. And if we get slow-mo Kyle Anderson, I think that's another good forward. So I like that. I like those additions a lot. And I think they're realistic for sure. So just like that, your new rotation is Maxey, Milton. You got James Harden, Justin Holiday, which, like I said, Justin Holiday could technically be a bench spot. He may not be in the rotation at all, but he could be somebody for you. And you got Harrison Barnes, Matisse Thybulle, which you hope Matisse Thybulle improves on the offensive end a little bit more. And you have Royce O'Neal and Kyle Anderson. And then you have Joel Embiid and Mark Williams. And then Rashawn Holmes as well. So I really love how this offseason went for us. Now, maybe it's not the most perfect offseason Philly would want, but I think it would be solid nonetheless. I'm going to move Barnes to the 4, Royce O'Neal to the 3, though. I think that makes a lot more sense. And then Kyle Anderson and Barnes will be your 2 4s. And you also got out Tobias Harris's contract on top of that. Barnes is an expiring, so that's something you can maybe work with at the trade deadline. But yeah, I think I like this offseason. I think it's not bad. Assuming James Harden would accept his player option, you'd be stuck with him. I mean, if he declines it and then you offer him a max, I don't know what you do at that point. But Harden went down to an 80. Damn, he went down like crazy. Kyle Anderson, Harrison Barnes went down. Matisse Thybulle going down. Rashawn Holmes went down. But that's unfortunate. But one thing, like I said, I think we made a lot of good additions this offseason. A lot of good depth. The biggest thing is we're relying on Tyrese Maxey to make a huge jump, really. And then maybe we get lucky and James Harden returns to Houston form, which probably isn't likely anymore. It just doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. But I think this could be a decent offseason for Philadelphia. The most realistic I could possibly have been. I think it's a decent offseason. So if you look at the rotation, it's Tyrese Maxey, James Harden in the backcourt together. Then you have Matisse Thybulle, but I don't really want to start Matisse Thybulle. I would rather start Royce O'Neal and then Barnes at the 4 spot. So this would be your new starting 5, which I think would be a decent one. These two guys can definitely defend and knock down threes, which is what you need. And then Kyle Anderson, Matisse Thybulle, Rashawn Holmes, and Mark Williams would be your bench, or Shake Milton, which I'd probably have Shake Milton in here preferably over Mark Williams. So yeah, I think this is a really nice rotation. I think it would be really nice. So look at a proficiency. Grit and Grind's at 3.5. We could go up to a 3.5 at post-centric, but don't really want to do that. And then we'll go to a balance system. So I wonder if that was what was wrong with them wanting to start Matisse Thybulle, which, again, I understand the idea of starting Matisse Thybulle, but he would have to majorly improve on the offensive end. So, yeah, I'm going to fix that a little bit, and then we'll have Kyle Anderson be like the 6th man, I guess, of this team. Rashawn Holmes will get some run, and then I want to remove Royce O'Neal like probably 20-something minutes, and then, again, I'm going to put Shake Milton as that last spot. So, yeah, kind of like this. So, Royce O'Neal, let's give him like 28, Matisse Thybulle 23, and then we'll give Rashawn Holmes around 19, then Shake Milton get these last 12 minutes. All right. Let's go ahead and simulate this season. Let's see what this team would do now that we've made all those changes. I think this roster is really solid. With Frank Vogel being the head coach, I think you definitely have the potential of being really solid this year and potentially getting back to the playoffs, maybe being a contender in the East. Let's get it. So at the end of the season, Luka Doncic wins MVP of the year, and then Paulo Banchero is Rookie of the Year on the Spurs. You got Keegan Murray winning 6th Man of the Year on the Charlotte Hornets. Rudy Gobert's Defensive Player, and Deshaun Highland's your most improved on the Nuggets. Nate McMillan's your Coach of the Year, and Dante Moreland is your executive. So here's your All-NBA first team, Joel Embiid making it, which is really nice to see. All-NBA second team, you got Garland, John Morant, Giannis, Jimmy, Jokic, and then here's your All-NBA third team. So no other Philadelphia 76ers, like no James Harden or anything like that. And then all defensively, we did have Matisse Thybulle making it, which is really cool to see. And then all rookie first team, all rookie second team. So we are the 3rd seed in the East, which is cool. We get to play Toronto again. So looking at the player stats, we have 24 from James Harden. So he still led the way in points, which I guess is cool, but I don't think he does that in real life anymore unless he, like I say, turns back the clock and goes back, but has not done that lately. And then you got 23 points from Tyrese Maxey. So I boosted Tyrese Maxey's shot tendency up like crazy. It was already pretty high, but like I said, I wanted Maxey to take another jump for this roster. If Harden was going to be that pass first point guard, then let's make Maxey take that jump and be that scorer, that second scorer. But they were both all pretty efficient, so that's cool. Barnes 37%, 36 from Royce O'Neal. So yeah, I mean, getting those 2 forwards would be solid. Is it the sexiest moves ever? No, not really, but they're solid. And like I said, Rashawn Holmes is a backup center, is no slouch either. And I think Rashawn Holmes used to be in Philadelphia, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken. Didn't he used to play for Philadelphia? Yeah, he did. Started his career. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can beat the Toronto Raptors in round 1. So Toronto, of course, Philadelphia took care of this year. And we have Freddie VanVleet, Gary Trent. So the roster is virtually the same. Really no changes. So let's see if we can beat them. They do have Bryce McGowan. So let's see if we can beat them again, though. Hopefully we're able to. I like my rotation, so I think we have a really good chance. So game 1, we're up 1-0, 110-97. Joel Embiid had 24 rebounds. James Harden, 25 and 6. Game 2, we're up 2-0. So we beat them by 34, 33 and 19, 28 from Harrison Barnes, which is exactly we'd love to see. Averaging 23 in the playoffs. We'll definitely take that every day, all day for sure. And then game 3, we're up 3-0, 122-98, and then 25 and 11 from Embiid. And we beat them in 5. Yes, we're on to the second round. We beat the Toronto Raptors in 5 games. But now you're running into another interesting opponent. The Miami Heat got eliminated, so I guess we don't have to worry about Miami. But now we're playing Milwaukee, which is another contender out east, obviously. They have Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Giannis, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen, and Dwayne Dedmon. So it's going to be interesting. They have D'Anthony Melton starting at the 2, which I find funny. But we'll see how this goes, man. Game 1. We're up 1-0, 98-93. Bobby Portis only 17. Giannis was terrible. Only shot 7 times. I can't imagine that would happen in real life. But game 2, we're up 2-0. So far, so good. Chris Middleton with 22. Maxey and Embiid had 23 apiece. Game 3, we're up 3-0. Okay, and we beat them by 1 in game 3, and we sweep the Bucks. All right, we are in the Eastern Conference Finals. We finally got out over that second round hump that Philadelphia has been in the way of, obviously, or that the hump's been in the way. So can we beat the Hawks or the Celtics? We'll have to see what we get to play. I think I'd rather play, I don't even know, to be honest, but we get the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks beat the Celtics. We get to play Atlanta. And you have Memphis and Portland on the other side of the bracket, but look at the Atlanta Hawks, which actually, this is actually good because as we know, the Atlanta Hawks eliminated the 76ers in round 2 when they honestly probably should have won that series. But if we look at the Hawks, they have Trae Young, Herter, Hunter, Collins, Capella, Bogdan Kongwu, Josh Richardson, Jalen Johnson. So this will be a tough series. 2K loves Atlanta, so I would not be surprised if we lost here. Game 1, we're up 1-0, beat them by 2, 32 from Trae Young, but Joel Embiid at 31, Tyrese Maxey with 28. So far, so good. We are up 2-0, 111-106. So yeah, things are going quite well. We're up 3-0, and we're gonna sweep them, aren't we? Yeah, we're on to the NBA Finals. Exactly where we want to be. Memphis Grizzlies and the 76ers in the finals. We got Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, John Morant. Obviously, the Grizzlies have a really good roster. They beat the Portland Trailblazers in 5. Here we go, though. Game 1. We're up 1-0. 101-84. Joel Embiid, 22, and James Harden with 27. Game 2, we're up 2-0. Beat them by 2 again. Are we really going to sweep the Grizzlies, though? No, we don't. It's 2-1. Okay. 28 from John Morant, and then 29 from James Harden. Can we go up 3-1? Yes, we can. It's 137-106. Can we win a championship with the 76ers? Yes, we can. All right. I guess it's that simple. At least in 2K it is. 22 points per game, 14 rebounds. Joel Embiid is your finals MVP. But that was kind of my offseason rebuild with the 76ers. I would definitely love to know what you guys think the 76ers should do this offseason, because I think there's going to be a lot of differing opinions. I believe James Harden's going to accept that player option, and when he does, I'm sure you're going to be stuck with him. I don't think Daryl Morey would just trade him away for nothing, because I don't think he'll get a ton back in return for him, but who knows? You know, we've been surprised before. We didn't think Ben Simmons was going to get a huge return after he sat on him for a while, but you're going to look for Maxey to take another jump, and I'm assuming they're going to try to trade Tobias Harris, and I'm assuming Doc Rivers will be fired as well, but we'll see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, though, guys. Leave it like we did. We'll be back tomorrow, probably with either a Celtics rebuild, which I really hope the Celtics force a game 7. I really do, but man, the way they lost game 5, I don't know if they can. And then, of course, we might see a Grizzlies rebuild tomorrow, but I thought that the other day, and it didn't happen. So this is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.